Okay, so this is going to be a new series that Nick thought of called Random Recommendations. Because we don't have any recommendations from you guys yet, I'm going to do the first question. Yay! So
right. Also before we do that, sorry, I know I'm being a jerk, but I do want to say this because this is kind of more of an outlet for us as a channel because we feel like we have a lot of knowledge that we can't at least show in a lot of our Let's Plays and whatnot. I mean, obviously we're telling stories and whatnot. I think this is a good way that we can reach out to you guys and show like, okay, we have more knowledge than just raging in video games. We want to help you guys out, especially if you want to like play a certain game. I got the idea from a stream when some people was asking me about games to play, and I was like, this would be a fun idea to do for a channel. Sorry, wanted to squeeze it in. Go, Travis.
Yeah, and some of us have more knowledge over others, fat people that eat rocks. Okay, so if I wanted to start dabbling into RPG games, which ones would you guys recommend?
All right, so I guess I will start for this. Take a seat, Mike. I don't know if you are.
I'll back up.
I'm sitting right now. So I remember we were talking about this a little while, and as we were talking about this topic, because obviously I'm a huge fan of RPGs, JRPGs, whatever RPG genres. I played a lot of them recently too. And one of the big ones that I wanted to see Travis start off with, and that I would really want him to see play, is a game called Golden Sun. And for you guys who don't know, Golden Sun was rated very highly, one of the very, very critically acclaimed games. But the reason I think it's such a good game to start off with is it's simple enough to get through as like a starting RPG. It's very creative with its puzzles and whatnot. It's not a very long game, I believe. Like my playthrough took around 30 hours, and some RPGs, I'm not sure if you guys know, take way longer. My Xenoblade Chronicles X playthrough was 100 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a very good one to. Yeah, it's a long game for Xenoblade Chronicles X. So Golden Sun, I feel like, is a good game that's shorter. It's not too complicated for somebody to come in and understand, and it's very creative with a lot of the story and whatnot. And if you like that game, it also has an extension of it called Golden Sun Dark Dawn, which I haven't played yet because I've been playing Bravely Default. But yeah, so at the time we were recording this, I've been playing that game a lot. I'm almost done though. So that's one of the reasons. It's short, it's very accessible to newcomers, and it's a lot of fun. It gets you right away, it gets you drawn in. The story's good, the gameplay is good and whatnot, and the characters are so fun. There's a couple of also mini things that are in there that I freaking loved, but I don't want to give that away yet. If somebody plays it, even if Mike, if you play it, I will talk about that with you for a long time.
It's on my list too, so.
Oh, it's short. It's awesome. It's like maybe $7 on the eShop. I'm advertising for Nintendo right now.
There you go.
Okay.
All you're up, Mike.
Okay, so mine is I think it's one that Nick has also probably told you to play also. So
probably.
This is probably coming from him too. It's an N64 game, and it's Paper Mario.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this game is super simple, I think, as far as like these, turn-based RPG games go. It's not too hard to pick up. There's some strategy that goes into it, and some of the bosses can be kind of difficult in that game. But for the most part, it's an easy first game to get into to learn the mechanics.
And it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like it's not super long compared to like other RPGs. It's pretty long, but not extremely long. But it's really funny, and so the story is also good.
I was just going to say, I cut my time to finish that game until like 12 hours. If you know what you're doing, it's really easy.
Yeah, and even like I don't know how long it would be normally. Probably somewhere around like 20-ish hours or so, especially if you were doing like side quests and stuff. But as far as RPGs go, that's honestly pretty short, I would argue. So.
Oh yeah, easily.
But yeah, and like you don't get lost in it very often. I mean, the game, it holds your hand, but not too much to where it's boring, which I think is cool. So I think that's a good entry point. And like I said, like it's a good way to learn about status effects and how that stuff works. Because like in a game like Final Fantasy or recently I've been playing a lot of Persona 5, you need to use that stuff to win. You cannot.
Oh.
Yeah, like you have to put enemies to sleep, or you have to like find their weak points. Luckily in Paper Mario, you can learn how to do this, but like I'm sure I've beaten that game without ever using any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's a good way to practice that stuff without like needing to depend on it to beat the game. So I think that's a good way to learn like all the basic mechanics of it without like needing to be advanced, I guess.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Another thing that I would want to point out with Paper Mario as well is they do hold your hand, especially in the beginning of the game. until they get you used to like what you need to do. And it's not a very simple. It's a pretty simple concept to do, but there's also points in the game that do allow for a decent amount of like creativity. So like if you want to, I guess I'm pointing out mainly like the flower fields part.
Yes.
I think it's chapter 6. Those are one of the big ones, and they do allow for a lot of customization. Obviously, customization is huge in an RPG, and it really pisses me off if that's not an option in there. And especially with the badges and your different partners that you like, it really allows for a lot of stuff. It really allows you to, like, if you love Watt a lot more, like honestly, Watt's like one of the best partners in my opinion. But if you like Watt a lot more than you like Kumbella, just play Watt. Like, that's it. And, I mean, obviously there's, like, broken strategies and whatnot. Like, obviously Goombario has a broken strategy with his multi-bomb, but then again, that's really good. But sorry, before I give too much away, that's one of the reasons why I like Paper Mario so much, is it's very accessible, and yes, it isn't too long at all.
Right.
It's very simple for somebody to figure out. Obviously, I love the game, and I probably played it 3 times before I was 10, so... And then I bought it on the Wii Virtual Console. Not the Wii U, the Wii Virtual Console. And then I also bought it from a game store. So I had 2 versions of it, and I played both of those. It's bad. I love that game so much.
It is a great one.
Yeah. I think Paper Mario Thousand Year Door refined it better, but I think Paper Mario is a better starting point.
For sure.
So anyway, another one that I was going to say, which is another big recommendation. This one's pretty obvious, and you might have already played this before, but another one that I was going to say is Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow.
Oh yeah.
The reason I say this is like a great entry point for RPGs to see if you like it is because a lot of the staples that come with the RPG genre is very prevalent in Pokemon, whether you see it or not. I mean, you have puzzles, like, I mean, there's like gym puzzles, there's like the Sylph Company puzzles and whatnot. There's a lot of different things like that. But at the same time, you have to deal with item management, huge thing in RPGs, level grinding. That's obviously a huge thing in Pokemon because you want to get your Pokemon to the next level. Different moves and which ones use the best on like with a kind of like weakness or like not very effective basis, and that's huge in a lot of RPGs too because you see it in so many different ways. And then another big one that I thought was, again, customization, which is also huge because you're able to have whatever Pokemon you want in there. That's one of the reasons I think it's such a good RPG to start off with, because it's not a difficult game at all. You can do so many different things in a game that was made that was like the year I was born, but it also allows for so much more than that. And being able to say, like, I think I pointed this out in one of my reviews, and I'm not sure if that one's going to be up yet when this one gets posted. I hope it is. But the ability to say that, like, to talk about it with your friends, saying like, oh, I played Pokemon Red, he played Pokemon Blue, I started off with a Charizard, he started off with a Blastoise. Our parties can be completely different, we reach the same result, and it makes you excited to try something new this next time that you play it. And Pokemon really allows for that customization. And that's one of the reasons I think it's so fun, and that Pokemon has such a replayability value. And some people who I know that don't really even play games, that only play Pokemon, is because of that. They might not like the fact that in Pokemon Sun and Moon you have Z crystals and whatnot, everything gets thrown around. But they love the fact that my playthrough is going to be unique to me, and there's so much more that I can do on another playthrough.
Yeah.
Pokemon is great for that.
Well, and actually, that was one I had on my list too. I just changed it right. I changed it right now, so I do have another second one. But I was gonna say that's kind of almost the same as Paper Mario, where like in Pokemon you have all the status effects. You have moves like Sleep Powder and Acid, or you can poison enemies and put them to sleep and stuff. But you don't need to get into that as much to beat the game. And even like the more in-depth moves, like you can increase attack and decrease attack, they're useful. But like I used to beat Pokemon without ever using them, and so again, it's a good entry point to learn how that stuff works without like needing to know how they work. You know?
Yeah. All right. So what do you have for your other one? Sorry for stealing yours.
No, it's good because I did have a backup. This one, and I feel weird recommending it because I'm pretty sure in like the most disappointing video thing that I think we did, I said this was my most disappointing game, and that's Final Fantasy 15. So
really,
yeah, I'm assuming this is for people that have never played an RPG before. Because this game was sort of tailor-made for that type of audience. And so if you're new to this genre, then it's a good game for you to play. Because as far as all the Final Fantasies go, it is one of the shorter ones that's out there, except for like
I know Pat said
originals.
Yeah, Pat said that like he completed it within like 25 hours. And he said he loved it, but then again, he is a newcomer to the RPG series.
Right. Well, and I think Pat was sort of like my evidence for why I think this would be a good one, because he fell in love with this game and it was his first Final Fantasy game. And so that's sort of
he doesn't like the turn-based ones. I know he does not like the turn-based ones.
Yeah, and I realized we were giving a lot of turn-based, so I'm like, well, maybe I'll, deviate from that a little bit. Because
Yeah.
this is a good one. It's not turn-based, but it still has that Japanese RPG style with it as far as the combat stuff goes. And it has a really captivating story. It's not too complicated. Again, like if you compare to older Final Fantasies, the other ones are way more in-depth and confusing. So
Yeah.
I think this is a good entry point to sort of understand how the story and mechanics go for these. And again, it's another one where like you can do things with status effects, and like the way you level up in the game is rather straightforward and simple compared to some of the other Final Fantasy games. Like for Final Fantasy X, they have this whole different, it's called a sphere grid that has like, there's a million different ways you can do it, and you know, it has that thing where like the most advanced players know like the most efficient, best way to do it, and there's like one right way, I guess, to do it if you want to like completely 100% the game. Final Fantasy
Yeah.
15 doesn't have that. There's nothing like that at all. The hardest boss in the game, you do have to get to level 100, but you can do that any way you want to, as long as you get there eventually. And so I think
Oh,
that's
so is
why
that
it's a
like
good
the
starting
super
point.
boss?
Yeah, it's called Adamantoise. It's like an optional super final boss, which is super difficult. The boss fight itself takes like 50 minutes. But the cool thing is anybody can do it. As long as you get to that point and you grind it out, you can do it. You don't need to like have this extreme advanced knowledge to get there. So I think that's kind of
Okay.
a cool thing about this game also.
Okay. Well, what do you think, Travis?
Well, for me, who only dabbles into the RPG genre just a little bit, because like I did like a couple videos on Skyrim. I have my Paper Mario Color Splash one going.
I guess I would say that one kind of took away a lot of the RPG elements, though. I would think it's more of a action adventure game at that point, and I think that's what they were going for.
Sure.
Sorry, that's just my opinion. Go ahead.
And then I have Kingdom Hearts going as well. I think that's pretty
Surprised you
much.
recommend that one, Mike.
Yeah.
The mechanics are just so different, I think. is
Well,
why he
Kingdom
wouldn't-
Hearts, I will say, as much as I love it, the original Kingdom Hearts is kind of outdated, and I'm sure Travis has noticed that. Because, you know,
Yeah.
I did hear you got angry a little bit in your stream, which is justified, I think.
Just the
'Cause
first one. Just the first
Yeah.
one.
Well,
That's
yeah, 'cause
also
the first
because
game-
like the games I'm used to playing are so different from Kingdom Hearts. It just took me a lot longer
Yeah.
to adapt to the controls, because I think Nick can also vouch, when I've been playing recently, it's been a lot better in terms of productivity in the
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And wait until you play, like, if you ever get around to playing the second game, it's night and day. The controls and, like, the attacks you do and all the different combos and stuff, it is so much better. So I get why someone wouldn't like the first game as much, because it was the first Kingdom Hearts game that I played, so, you know, it's different. But when you jump into the later ones, it's so much better. So I don't know if I'd recommend it just because it's kind of outdated at this point. But
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So Travis, are you good?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, just so I can close this off, so hopefully you guys like this. This is more of a testing kind of video thing, just to see what you guys think. In the future, what we want to do with these random recommendations is you guys give us a topic, especially in the comment section below. If you want to get into this genre, or if I want to stay away, or I don't like this genre, say like I hate first-person shooter games, but if I was going to play one, what should I play? This was, I guess, more of a way for us to kind of give our feedback to your guys' gaming. Whatever games that you guys play. God, that sounded like a tongue twister. But anyway, that's why I really want your feedback on there. So hopefully next time that we do this, you guys will give us a topic, and all of us will be recommending a game. So Travis wouldn't be asking the question this time; he would actually be showing his knowledge of the games as well.
Yes.
So please let us know what you think of this game or this kind of video, because your feedback means a lot to us. So anybody want to give a close out?
bye.
Yeah,
That's
and then
boring.
obviously
Best
because
close
there
ever.
are all the other, Super Nintendo dudes that also have different gaming things, we can also like adapt the group to be more. Like both of you guys love RPGs, so obviously it makes sense that
Yeah.
you two would participate in the RPG. Because I know Eric loves first-person shooters,
Yeah.
so if that was ever an actual thing, we'd probably try and get him if it's
For sure.
possible. If it's possible.
Absolutely.
So
So anybody want to do a better sign off than Mike had? Travis?
this has been fun. I'm glad that I got all of my knowledge out in this video, so I can sound stupid in the next one.
Sweet.
Cool.